Alright, so chapter 134 is out now, and we actually don't continue from where we left off last chapter. It skipped a bit ahead, but we still get to see the results of Kana's sacrifice and how they're dealing with it, especially Ruby. Kana's true feelings really affected her a lot, but was it enough to help Ruby better understand Ai? We get to find out this chapter, so I'll just get started. The chapter opens with Ruby walking past Kana and Memcho, and then getting completely ignored by Kana when she tries to greet her. It's honestly a bit sad, even Memcho was shocked when she saw that. I guess that Kana and Ruby conversation from the last chapter must have been pretty recent. Of course, Memcho could guess they had a fight, like the so-called Flowers of Edo, as she puts it, which is basically a saying that means fires and fights are making a fine show. Memcho doesn't really believe it's serious until Ruby actually tells her that Kana doesn't want to see her anymore because she hates Ruby. Then we get a panel of Memcho being absolutely confused, like she's bamboozled. She really has no idea what's going on. Then we cut again, this time to Frill sipping on something. She actually says that when she tries to get into the role of a lover, she can end up liking her co-star too. Basically describing how a role could affect your thoughts or actions in real life. There actually seems to be a new girl in Ruby and Frill's friend group as well, and both she and Minami are surprised by how deep an actor can get into their role. Like if anyone has watched the first Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan admitted that he put himself in a lonely place to really get in the mindset of Killmonger, and that was difficult to get out of that mindset when he was done. Frill even says that she can be hasty and say things like the guy she's acting with is cool, or she'll actually want to date them. However, she also clarifies that once filming is over, she'll come to her senses and realize she never actually liked the guy. Next time Frill will look at her partner, she'll think he's gross or his breath stinks, or something like that. Even the other girl feels sorry for that guy. Minami says she's heard about that type of stuff too, like when two people play the role of a couple and are really into it. They even book a room in a hotel where they're filming. I think you can guess where Minami is going with this. However, they end up breaking up not too long after that, proving Frill's an example. Frill continues by saying people are actually very self-suggestive when they get into their role. They can even develop an imaginary feeling of being in love. The other girl asks if all actors have to go to that extent in order to act well, and Frill tells her it depends basically. There are definitely people who plan their acting in advance, yet the problem with those who plan in advance is that they tend to disappear eventually. As for why, Ruby asks, Frill tells her that actors who can't contribute to the quality of work aren't needed. During filming, there can be times when the quality of the work is questioned, and the director or producer have to step in. They instruct what to do at many different points, disrupting any plans that were already laid out. Things become unclear to the point it seems like you're blindfolded, not knowing what to do next. That's the point where most actors show their flaws. They don't know which way the goal is, and for some reason can't run either. It's good if they tumble, but more often than not, they'll completely miss the mark and never come back. However, if the role is already deeply rooted in you, that role will tell you where the goal is. The panel itself is pretty interesting too. I thought that was Akane covering Ruby's eyes for a second. She's also holding up an L, which is kind of funny. Those are the scenes where the quality of an actor is tested, where finding someone else inside of you for even just a single scene can make or break the entire work. That's acting. Hearing that causes Ruby to think. She thinks back to what Kana said, wondering if Kana was trying to get into her character, which is Nino. However, Ruby's certain those words she said weren't a lie. We then cut to Memcho and Kana, with Memcho asking why Kana would say what she said, even if she had a fight with Ruby. Kana counters by saying even Memcho should feel some type of way towards Ruby. That's a good counter, which causes Memcho to think. She really seems to be thinking about it, but ends up saying that's the problem. If you actually speak those thoughts out loud, there's a good chance everything will be over. That's fine to Kana though, since she's gonna quit Bikomachi anyways. Memcho asks if she'd really say something like that, to which Kana says when you finally let out those suppressed feelings, you realize how much you've been enduring. And we get a sick shot of Kana and her shattered heart to reinforce those words. Kana understands now that she feels so jealous. There's even an actual part of Kana that wants Ruby to be hurt because of her, which is crazy. And look at her hair too. Her eyes are so dark and intense, as she realizes this must be the feeling of love and hate. Little by little, she's getting closer to Nino. This shows Kana's really let herself become consumed by the role of Nino. Then in the dressing room, Ruby's tearing up, and Gotanda and another staff member is worried about her. The woman suggests Gotanda do something about Ruby. Even after the scenes are over, Ruby is always depressed like that. Kotana then says he'll give her a break for a while, and they walk away, with the woman saying he should at least collect the wigs. That actually leads me to say that those are some really good wigs. I don't know why, but I really thought Ruby just dyed her hair. Ruby meanwhile is wondering when Kana started to hate her. She remembers the time she recruited Kana, and the moment before their first performance as Bikomachi, and then many other times together. She thinks of all their good moments, wondering if Kana really hated her all that time. We even have a sweet image of Ruby hugging Kana, which just makes the scene hurt even more, especially with Ruby crying again. She then thinks of her mother and wonders how Ai stayed so calm and managed not to be hurt. Then we get the sick and beautiful shot of Ruby seeing Ai in the mirror, who is also crying, but with their double black starring on. Meanwhile, we see Ruby looking back at her with the double white starring on. It's such a great visual comparing the contrast in Ai and Ruby. Seeing that vision, Ruby wonders if Ai cried too. And the chapter ends with Ruby crying as Ai, having her double black starring on. I think this sort of symbolizes how Ruby started to understand Ai in a way, and her feelings finally began to mix with her mother's. She realizes Ai might have actually been a vulnerable girl too, but she just didn't show it. Overall, I really liked how this chapter went into detail about how actors get into their roles. There are some actors who do what Kana is doing right now to really get into the role. As for now though, it really seems like Kana did mean what she said. Deep down, Kana actually hated Ruby, or at least that's what she wants to believe, and is channeling that inner hate to become like Nino. Meanwhile, thanks to that, Ruby is finally starting to understand how Ai really felt. Ai must have felt hurt as well, but did a really great job suppressing it. She was an amazing liar after all. But yeah, it really feels like Ruby's connection with Ai is starting to grow stronger because of this, especially now that she's actually visualizing how Ai must have felt. Do y'all think Ai cried as well, and was just as vulnerable as Ruby? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching. We actually have a break next week too, which is unfortunate, but yeah. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. I got some more Oshi videos here too, if you want to check it out. Peace.